tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Good afternoon, everyone. So today we are continuing our lecture series on Patisambhida Magga. So far we have done 9 wisdoms among the 73 that are listed in the Patisambhida Magga. And last week we discussed about how wisdom is developed till the Sankharupekkha Ñāna. Now this time we are going to discuss about a very interesting wisdom which is called Gotrabhū Ñāna. It is called the Gotrabhū Ñāna, the change of the lineage, Now, the wisdom is called Bahidda Vuttana Vivattane Pañña. Sorry, Bahidda Vuttana Vivattane Pañña. Gotrabhū Ñāna. Right, Gotrabhū Ñāna. Now, this is a wisdom which emerges from the external objects of conditioned realities. So here first we need to be very careful, very clear on what is the external and internal nature of realities. This is not based on Abhidhamma explanation, but purely on the basis of Vipassana explanations. Now, previously we talked how wisdom grows step by step till the Sankharupekkha Ñāna. How wisdom grows till the Sankharupekkha Ñāna. And at the end of Sankharupekkha Ñāna, when one reaches the Sankharupekkha Ñāna, one reaches the level of Santittana. Santittana means becoming economous about the Sankharas. And it is now after emerging from, after doing the Bhanganupassana, one sees the danger, Sankharas as dangerous, and then he sees the disadvantages of the Sankharas through Adhinava Ñāna, and then gets dispassionate about the Sankharas with the Nibbida Ñāna. Then he becomes desirous to get rid of Sankharas with the Munchitu Kamyata Ñāna, and then he finds out what is the way to get out of Sankharas, and he puts lots of effort into contemplating the Sankharas thoroughly, which is under the Patisankhanupassana Ñāna. And when this wisdom grows very strongly, broadly, one comes to the level of Upekkha, Santittana, that is becoming economous about the conditioned realities. And that's the Sankharupekkha level. Now, when one is dwelling in the Sankharupekkha level, the mind withers away from the Sankhara. It turns away from it. It doesn't appreciate the Sankharas. But that the dispassion which was present in the Nibbida Ñāna, which was dominating the mind, is no more at the Sankharupekkha, because that dispassion, according to some teachers, is influenced by the latent tendencies of Asmimana and Sakkaya Ditthi. So the idea of I, because the dispassion comes and the fear arises. Fear means the wisdom of fear arises because the influence of I, because he understands, he knows that if I am to be born in these realms again, I would be the one who will be getting affected by these conditioned suffering. So the Nibbida Ñāna and the Bhayatupatthana are all are influenced by the idea of self or idea of I. Then that in the Patisankhanupassana wisdom, one does very vigorous vipassana practice, especially emphasizing or focusing on the non-self nature of the conditioned realities, and that would result in a equanimity towards the conditioned realities, and also subduing the urge, the strong urge one had to get rid of sankharas and to attain nirvana. But that would not reduce the urge, but it would make it a more stable type of an urge and more wise urge. So he is very much focused, but he is not that much eager to get out of samsara as it was in the Sankharupeka Munchitu Kamyatanyana. It was in an elevating stage, it was always increasing, and the mind was in a sort of a distress level due to the Nibbida Ñāna, and now he is in a very equanimous state, and still, but he never gives up his practice, he keeps on meditating thoroughly. Now when this happens, there's a level called Sikapatta Sankharupekha Ñāna. At the level of Sankharupekha, if I go it from this side, yes, Sankharupekha. And this Sankharupekha reaches to the level of Sikapatta. Sikapatta Sankharupekha. And the Sikapatta Sankharupekha means the culmination of the Sankharupekha Ñāna. It reaches its highest level. So when someone has attained this Sikapatta Sankharupekha Ñāna, it won't be possible for him to stop anymore. So he would goes to the next stage of Anuloma Ñāna and then enters into the Magga. So but except for special beings such as it's mentioned about the Bodhisattvas who had got Bodhisattvas who has a desire to attain the Samma Sambuddhahood one day, they would reach this Sankharupekha level, and also they would hit the Sikapatta Sankharupekha Ñāna, but would not go beyond. They would not enter into Anuloma, because if he enters to Anuloma Ñāna, he would not be able to come back or remain as a Putujjana to attain the Samma Sambuddhahood one day. So Sikapatta Sankharupekha Ñāna is a culmination of the Sankharupekha, but it won't. So if someone has attained this stage, he is certain to go to the Magga level. This Sikapatta Sankharupekha Ñāna would contemplate sankharas as either as anicca or dukkha and anatta. Dukkha or anatta, either one of the ways, and then it would be repeated by another mind process, which involves, now this mind process is now after emerging from Bhavanga, Manodvara Vajana focuses on a conditioned reality, and then it would be followed by 4 Javana Chittas, 4 or 3 Javana Chittas, and that would be focusing on the same conditioned reality. And if the Sikapatta Sankharupekha contemplated as anicca, then these consciousnesses would also contemplate the reality as anicca. That's how it happens. That's how the teachers explain. The ancient Theras have suggested that before the Magga, the contemplation would be similar, either as anicca, dukkha or anatta. So in the same way, if it was a dukkha contemplation, this process would also contemplate it as dukkha, and anatta contemplation, it would also be anatta. And then this wisdom, the wisdom that is associated with these Javana Chittas, the wisdom associated with these Javana Chittas are called Anuloma Ñāna. It's called Anuloma Ñāna. So then with this Anuloma Ñāna, it's a repetition going on with the 4 Chittas. They are very powerful Chittas. They are capable of lessening the defilements, and they are capable of suppressing the defilements. It's rather better to say as lessening the defilements, or streaming the defilements. And then actually 3 Chittas, I would say. Parikkhana Upachara Anuloma. Yeah, 3 Chittas arise. Not 4 actually. 3 Chittas. 3 Chittas. And then, so these 3 Chittas, the conditioned reality would be contemplated as anicca, dukkha, or anatta. So either as anicca, dukkha, O anatta. And then, so this repetition of three consciousnesses taking the same object. So this wisdom is not explicitly mentioned in the Patisambhida Magga, and it's in between the Gotrabhū. Now this will be followed by a consciousness called Gotrabhū, which is our topic today actually. Which is followed by a consciousness Gotrabhū, and then it will follow the Magga and Phala would follow. So at this level, this wisdom of Anuloma Ñāna is is compatible, or it's we call it's anuloma, it's in a line, or it's in conformity. What do you say? That's the best word to use. The conformity, wisdom of conformity, is in conformity with the previous vipassana knowledges. Because with all the previous vipassana knowledges, starting from the Samma Ñāna, or otherwise Udayabbe Ñāna. So the yogi had been contemplating realities as anicca, dukkha and anatta again and again, and he had been doing this for thousands of times, and also maybe in previous lives as well. So he has been developing these vipassana wisdoms for a long period, and he has been observing the true natures of the realities. And what the Anuloma Ñāna is seeing also not something different from what he has seen, because the yogi has already seen the three characteristics or conditioned realities as impermanent, suffering and non-self, and Anuloma Ñāna is also seeing the conditioned realities either as impermanent, suffering or non-self. So he is not seeing something new, he is seeing something that has already been known, thoroughly known, and then a special wisdom is going to happen in future. That special wisdom is the wisdom that would remove the pavattha, that would eradicate the causes of the samsara, cause of the samsara. So that is the unwholesome mentalities or unwholesome aggregates, and also the realities that are supposed to arise due to those unwholesome aggregates. Those are the latent defilements and the unarisen aggregates that are supposed to come up due to these latent defilements. Anupanna khandhas, those are the pavattha, the existence actually. So existence. So now, so Magga is going to cut it and gets the emergence. It's going to emerge from this round of rebirths. So this can only be done with a powerful consciousness that has the capacity to cut down, not to listen, not just to listen or not just to suppress, but to cut off the causes of this samsara. And this Magga is associating, we normally say 37 Bodhipakkhya Dhammas. Bodhipakkhya Dhammas. So these are the requisites or requisites of the enlightenment. Requisites of the enlightenment or constitution of factors of enlightenment. Bodhipakkhya, which are in the group or the side of the Bodhi Magga Ñāna. 37 Bodhipakkhya Dhammas. But actually, maximally, what we can have is 34 Bodhipakkhya Dhammas at one consciousness. That's the maximum number, of course, because it's not possible to have all the 4 Iddhipadas in one consciousness. So either one has to have Chitta, Chanda, Viriya or Vimansa. One of them, one out of the 4, but at least one has to be there. At least means only one could be there. But it's not possible that you have a Magga Chitta without the Iddhipadas. One has to be there, and it's only one. It cannot be 2, 3 or 4. So the maximum number of Bodhipakkhya Dhammas in the Magga consciousness, technically speaking, is 34. But normally, conventionally speaking, we would say the Magga Chitta has all the 37 Bodhipakkhya Dhammas, which is not accurate actually, which is been used in Dhamma. This sentence has been used commonly in Dhamma, that all the Bodhipakkhya Dhammas are found in the Magga Chitta, but technically no, because fundamentally 2 Iddhipadas, 2 Adhipatis. Adhipatis and Iddhipadas are identical, they are the same. Adhipatis found in the liberation, path to liberation or the practice of Nibbana, practice of Vipassana and practice to Nibbana are called Iddhipadas. There is no difference in them. Then, so Bodhipakkhya Dhammas are the, so these Bodhipakkhya Dhammas are going to remove to make the person emerge from the pavattha, from the existence, by removing the causes of existence. And so this is a very special attainment. So this in order to attain this, now he has been developing the power of vipassana till now, and he is going to, the objective or the goal would be to get this magga, which eradicates the causes of the existence. So, but these wisdoms are not capable of producing this magga. That's the point here. They are not capable of producing this magga. And this magga has to have a wisdom which can produce it. So it has to be a very special type of a wisdom. And that special type of wisdom is the Anuloma Ñāna. So it's in conformity, this Anuloma Ñāna is in conformity with the magga because it supports the arising of magga. If it is not supporting the arising of magga, if it is not in conformity, I would rather say, if it is not in conformity, it would not be a supportive factor for the magga. It cannot produce the magga. It cannot arouse the magga. It cannot be a cause for the magga. It can only be a cause for the magga since it is in conformity. It is not in contradiction. If things are contradicting, it cannot produce it. Then you can ask the question, how could avidya produces sankhara, kusala sankharas? Yes, there is a relationship in between, even though they are different in the character, but avidya is the reason why the sankharas are there. We can show a link between them, even though they are different in nature. They're different in their intrinsic natures, but the avidya's contribution for the kusala sankharas is very clear. Not for the kiryas, but the kusala sankharas, the extra force. So now, since it is producing this magga, the 34 bodhipakya dhammas, so 37 bodhipakya dhammas. So it's in conformity, it's not in contradiction. And also, this special wisdom which can produce magga is also not in contradiction with what he has seen. So it's the same thing. He has seen the sankharas, anicca, dukkha, anatta, and he is repeating it. And that repeating wisdom is strong enough, is powerful enough to produce this magga. So Anuloma Ñāna acts as a bridge actually between all the vipassana wisdoms that one has produced so far till the Sikapatta Sankarupekha Ñāna and the Magga Chitta. So it acts as a bridge. So it confirms with what has been done so far, and also it confirms with what is going to be attained in the future, in the very recent future, few mind moments after. So that's why it's called Anuloma Ñāna. It is in conformity with the past vipassana wisdoms and also the Magga Ñāna, which is going to happen in the future. It's going to happen in the future. So this is so this wisdom is a simile has been given in ancient days, olden days. Kings who are righteous didn't want to impose the death penalty upon the victims because they wanted to be free from blood smeared hands. They don't want to have any blood smeared on their hands. So what they were doing they were just, I would not rather say that it's completely like there is killing going on. Someone has to accumulate the karma if someone's to be executed. So there's no argument in it. Now what ancient rulers have said, ancient books have said, if someone has done this and this and this, he deserves the death penalty. So now in the courthouse, a king is sitting and listening to the trial being done by Voharika Amachas. Voharika Amachas are the ministers who are acting as the judges. So they are conducting the trial. They are asking the evidences and victims from the victim and all these, a witness and all this, and then a witness and the suspect and so forth. So now they are collecting the information and they judge the person's actions, and also which checks whether what sort of punishment is there according to the ancient constitution or according to the rules laid down by the past teachers. So then the Vinichya Mahamachas say, yes, this is what this person has done, and this is the punishment that he deserves. So the king listens, king observes everything, and he says, okay, I agree with your judgment. He is at fault. He has done the fault. And also, he agrees with the laws set by the ancient wise men, so that this person should be executed on this case. So then he confirms, he is in conformity with the trial. He has no issue with the trial because he knows it was unbiased, it was done properly. He is in conformity with it, he agrees upon it, and he also agrees with the punishment laid down or written down on the books. So then he is in conformity with both the Minichya Mahamachas, that the judges, and also the rule book. So in the same way, this wisdom of conformity, Anuloma Ñāna, is in confirmation with the wisdoms, Vipassana wisdoms that was already observing the Sankharas and understanding the three characteristics throughout this entire period. And also it's in conformity with the Bodhipakya Dhammas, supramundane Bodhipakya Dhammas. The Bodhipakya Dhammas which are capable of eradicating the causes of suffering, and it is in conformity. So why it is in conformity? It can support the arising of this Magga or the Bodhipakya Dhammas. So therefore, this wisdom, I would rather say, acts as a bridge between the Vipassana Ñānas and the Magga Ñāna, and also it's the link between these two. And because Vipassana Ñānas were unable to do so, why the Vipassana Ñānas were unable to do so? They didn't have that capacity to eradicate the defilements. One reason for that was they did not cognize Nibbana. They did not observe Nibbana. So only while observing Nibbana they get the power to eradicate the defilement. And they didn't have it. And they were not capable of observing Nibbana because the defilements were so strong, still not lessened enough, or still not the wisdom is not strong enough to go through these defilements, to overcome the influence of defilements and go beyond the defilements and to take these objects, to get out of the sankharas, to get out of the defilements. No, Vipassana Ñānas were not strong enough. And that strength, when does the mind gets that strength is with these wisdoms, Anuloma Ñāna. They play a big vital role, even though there are three consciousnesses that are not thoroughly discussed, not very detailed. They are discussed in the Visuddhi Magga, but we have to give them more emphasis on them. So they play actually it's been discussed in detail. So in the Visuddhi Magga, so these three wisdoms play a huge role because they are the ones that has the capacity, which would give these two chittas to break the door, to break the delusion and do the breakthrough. So these two wisdoms that are going to follow gets the energy or power from this Anuloma Ñāna. So then what happens? A special chitta arises here. The special chitta is called Gotrabhū. Gotrabhū. The meaning of Gotrabhū means which overcomes the lineage or the clan of the worldlings, which are called Putujanas, and then which produces or which causes the arising of the noble lineage or the noble clan, or which places the living being in the noble clan, or which develops or which produces the noble clan, is this Gotrabhū Chitta. This Gotrabhū Chitta. Because it is producing a special consciousness that would make the person a noble person. Nobility here is not based on the clan or the caste or by birth, or it's not something that was conferred upon you by the royalty, because royalty is always noble and royalty can make someone noble, especially making a knight and so forth. It's not something conferred by the royalty upon you. It's not something that we gain by birth, because of our birth or the womb that we were born in, because of those social status. This nobility is only because of getting rid of the impurities. So person is ignoble due to the impurities of mind, defilements of the mind. Defilements actually downgrade the person. The qualities, the person is downgraded by the defilements. So as Putujana, we are in a downgrade level. We are in a very low level because we are possessing all the defilements in a full-fledged package. We have all the defilements. We possess the possibility even of killing our own mothers one day. It could happen at any time. It may not have happened, it may not happen in this very life, most probably, but still there is a possibility. There is a possibility. If the situations change drastically, dramatically, and if drastically change, and there can be a situation that our dosa can rise to a level that we could even kill a human being, and that person could be our parents. Even mistakenly killing, it could be our parents. Because if you have the intention of killing someone, and if you don't even we don't recognize that person, if you are killing, and that killing, that the person victim could be our parents, could be the parents. It's only a bodhisattva who had the prophecies is free from that. Mysteriously, he could kill others, but still it would never be his parents. That's the power of his abhinihara that he has. It's a mysterious thing. That because of the power of that abhinihara, even though he kills living beings throughout this process of samsara, that they can never be his parents. A special thing, a special case, and they could never be an arahant also. So anyway, so we possess all these ignobilities, and the person is made noble by eradicating those defilements by the magga, and the magga is produced by this Gotrabhū chitta, and this Gotrabhū chitta is produced by these consciousness, and we can also say these wisdoms are also produced in the magga, because they are producing Gotrabhū, and in turn they are produced, and also in lineage, in sequence they are producing the magga as well. Now this Gotrabhū, the point of the Gotrabhū is it's emerging. That's a very interesting point now. Even though the sankharas, the vipassana jnanas were observing the true natures of the sankharas, we were still stuck in the sankharas. We were still stuck in two places. We were never out of two things. What are they? Nimitta and pavatta. Pavatta. Nimitta and pavatta. Yes. Pavatta is the existence. Pavatta is the existence. This is how our mind is functioning, and we are living. And especially, it's not about the existence that we have in this life. It's about the existence that could follow, because we are possessing latent defilements. So those latent defilements would cause actually, not can. They would cause if they remain untouched, if they remain uneradicated, undestroyed. So they would surely produce another life, now new nama and rupa. So this is the existence. We are living now, and also due to the causes, we are going to get our existence is going to extend. Our existence is going to extend. So we are not free from this samsara. So we are not free from the anupanna suffering. So these are the existence. So that I used to draw in most of the fundamental classes. Now, for example, this is the life that we had been living in the past, and this is the present life, and this is the present moment, for instance, the present, and we do possess avidya and tanha, tanha and avidya, tanha and avidya, and it's supporting the karma, and that's what happened in the past as well. Tanha was there, avidya was there, and it supported the karma, and this karma gave the rebirth. And this karma would also, in future, if they gets the opportunity, would would produce the rebirth. So we are supposed to live a life, and after death, if the karma remains, it would produce the rebirth, and that via nama rupa is going to happen. So this karma, if it gets the opportunity, it would eventually produce this life. So still karma, we have possessing the karma, tanha is still there. Even while we are at this moment, our existence is still there. This is called pavatta, the whole existence. So anupanna dhammas, the dhammas which have not arisen, are about to arise. They should be considered as something existing, because the cause is there. So they should not be considered as something absent. We are not, the possibility is still there. We are not free from them. That's the point here. So now, latent defilement, even karma is doing this because of it. So these are the core reason. These are the core reason. And in Patisambhida Magga, they are considered, they are called the ajjata. These are internal. Now in Abhidhamma, ajjata means anything that belongs to us, any reality that belongs to us. But here ajjata means the unwholesome aggregates. Unwholesome aggregates. So then these unwholesome aggregates would produce khandas, aggregates in the future, or they are possible to arise, right? And when they are arising, they would produce, they would come up as defilements and also some unwholesome like of chittaja rupas would arise, right? So chittaja rupas, defilements are supposed to arise, chittaja rupas are supposed to arise together with them, and due to these unwholesome qualities, aggregates, even though they are latent, they are still considered aggregates. So, and new khandas are supposed to arise. These are the all things called pavatta. And then the remaining things, such as the wholesome deeds, the ituja rupas, the body that we possess, are all secondary. The basic, we can see three layers here. The first layer is the uneradicated defilements, and that are going to arise as defilements. And they would also have chittaja rupas, unpleasant chittaja rupas associated or arising due to them. And also due to these defilements, we are supposed to get all the khandas, actually the vipaka khandas, resultants of these kilesas. And then they would be followed by other non-resultant aggregates such as kusala khandas, kiriya chittas, utuja rupas, aharaj rupas, and so forth. So all these are the pavatta. So one needs to get rid of this. In order to get rid of the pavatta, one needs to eradicate these defilements. At the same time, while the consciousness is working, it's taking objects. It's always taking objects. What are these objects? These are all conditioned reality. These are called sankhara. Sometimes panyatis are also taken, but panyatis are utterly depending upon sankharas. If there is no sankhara, there would never be a panyati. Panyati is how a sankhara is taken as a one thing, which doesn't exist, but panyatis are based on even the patibhaga nimitta, which is considered as a pure sankhara, pure panyati, is also has some sort of a relationship with sankharas. Because if you take the patavi kasina patibhaga nimitta, the idea of color is there, idea of the shape is there, the idea of the hardness is there. So therefore, all the panyatis are associated with sankhara. The most further the disassociated panyati from sankhara is the absence of sankharas, the natti bhava. You can say absence is there a connection? Yes, absence of a certain reality. For example, if you say absence of the akasana chayatana chitta, absence of a particular sound. So absence is also somewhat related to the sankhara. Or otherwise you have to say empty of all the sankharas. So absence, the idea of absence is also somewhat related to sankhara. So there cannot be a panyati without sankhara. So the main objects of our mind are sankharas. This is called nimitta. Nimitta has two meanings. Sometimes sankhara, nimitta is a quality of the sankharas. Every sankhara possesses a quality called nimitta, which enables them to be distinguished from each other. And this nimitta quality is due to the causes. When causes are producing sankharas, each sankhara possesses a different nimitta, which is not found in nibbana since it's unconditioned. So now sankharas, so we are observing, while the existence is happening, we are observing the sankharas. We are stuck in this. Now, the existence is also sankharas. We are stuck, we are in sankhara, we are having sankharas, even though we are not focusing on them, we are having the sankharas, and we are supposed to have sankharas in future if we remain as we are, and also we are observing sankharas. We are possessing sankharas, we are supposed to continue with the possession of sankharas, and we are observing sankharas. So we are stuck in the sankhara world. That's the point here. We are stuck in the sankhara world. Now, what we are planning, and those sankharas, the pavatta, the objects, everything is impermanent, suffering and non-self. More importantly, objects are seen as impermanent mostly. And the existence is felt as suffering. It's felt as suffering. Because you see the sankharas rising and falling, and the existence appears as something suffering, because we are going to continuously capture or be trapped in this life and birth, rebirth cycle. Objects are considered impermanent. Does it not to say the objects are not suffering? Yes, they are suffering, they are non-self. But mostly objects are suffering. Impermanent is seen in the objects, is felt in the objects. And the existence is felt as suffering, something suffering. And both the existence and the objects are felt as non-self, So now, what happens is, now we need to get off this. But the purpose, our main purpose, is to get out of this existence. That's the most important thing, to remove the rebirth. But in order to do that, first we have to get out of the sankhara, objects of sankhara, because we are stuck in two ways. We are stuck in the pavatta with sankhara, that is the sankhara, existence of sankhara, and also we are only observing sankharas. So first we need to get out of the object of sankharas, and then we get rid of the existence of sankhara. So how to get rid of the existence of sankharas? It's by removing the cause. When this cause is removed, karmas would not get the opportunity, and also they would not arise as mentalities, and they would not produce unwholesome chittaja rupas, unpleasant chittaja rupas, and also the suffering that was going to happen, supposed to happen, would end. So that's the emerging from the existence. This is called emerging from the existence. So you are getting out of the existence, and that out, or the state beyond the existence, is called nibbana. So when we erase this, for example, when you fully erase this, what comes is the state of nibbana. Even here, when you erase it, what comes is the state of nibbana. So emerging from the pavatta means attaining nirvana, and also one needs to get out of the sankhara nimittas as an object. So what Gotrabhū does is that now it's strong enough for the emergence, because what we want is the emergence from the pavatta. The magga chitta is strong enough to do that. In order to do that, first we need to get out of or emerge from the objects of sankharas. And Gotrabhū does that. Why? This Gotrabhū is focusing on nibbana. And now these akusala khandhas are considered ajatta, and also they are connected with the existence. And all the sankharas that are taken as objects are considered as nimitta. These are bahidha actually. Bahidha. So in my opinion, if akusala khandha is also taken as an object, it still can be called bahidha. Anyway, that can be debatable. So anyway, he is observing all the sankharas, all the sankharas that are taken as an object are bahidha. The akusalas that are prevailing, uneradicated, and also causing the existence, the rebirth, are the ajatta. So Gotrabhū chitta is unable to remove the causes and to get the person out of existence. So it cannot emerge from the ajatta. It can only do, what it can do is, it can get out of the sankhara nimittas and observe nibbana. That's emerging from the bahidha, external. This is the external. External are the objects. Akusala khandhas are the internal. So, bahidha vuttana vivattani. So, the wisdom that is involved in the emergence from the external objects. Those are the sankharas. Even you are observing your own body, it's an external object here. Even observing, if one is observing your own chakku prasada, it's an external object here. So, in this regard, when he is observing any of the sankharas, those are external objects. So he is getting out of, from bahidha vuttana, he is emerging from the external. Vivattani, moving away, turning aside, turning away, facing somewhere else from the Sankhara. So, what is this somewhere else? What is this place? Apart from Sankharas, away from Sankhara, that's Nibbana. So, Bahidna Vuttana Vivattane Pañña, the wisdom involved in the emergence from the external and also moving away from the external is wisdom. And that wisdom is called Gotrabhū Ñāna. And that Gotrabhū is the one who destroys or one who overcomes the worldling lineage and also produces the noble lineage, making someone a noble being. And because in the next moment, he'll be eradicating the defilements and become a noble person. So that's the Gotrabhū wisdom. This Gotrabhū wisdom, normally when we are talking in Abhidhamma, we are talking how it removes the worldly lineage and makes the nobility, but in reality, that's true actually, but in a deeper sense, what it does is, it emerges from the Sankhara Nimitta and also it moves away from the Sankhara Nimitta and takes Nibbana as an object, which is a very vital thing because we are stuck in our existence because there are Sankharas and we are taking only Sankharas as objects. So it seems like we are stuck in one place. In order to get rid of the Pavatti, get rid of the existence, first we need to get rid of the objects. So Gotrabhū is the first step towards this big process. Actually, the steps were started from the Vipassana, and now even at the final stage, now Vipassana has come into a culmination. Now the breakthrough is going to happen, but still the breakthrough would not happen immediately. First he would get out of the Bahidha objects and observe Nibbana, and next moment, keeping that object as Nibbana as the object, it eradicates the causes and makes the being to emerge or get out of the Pavatti. So that's the next wisdom which we are going to discuss next week. Dubato Vuttana Vivattane Pañña Magge Ñāna. The Magga Ñāna emerges not only from the objects of Sankhara, but also from the causes of the existence, that is Akusalas, and it emerges from the existence as well. So I hope you enjoy. Okay, Bahidha Vuttana Vivattane Pañña Gotrabhū Ñāna. We shall go to the handout and read it and finish it. Here Bahidha means external in the ultimate sense. It refers to Sankharas or Sankhara Nimittas, which are the conditioned reality. Here what seems to be emphasized are the conditioned realities that are taken as objects. In this regard, conditioned realities that are taken as objects are considered external in comparison to the wholesome aggregates that are considered internal. It's mentioned in the commentaries. Then, because compared to the internal aggregates, unwholesome aggregates, all the objects are called external. The term Vuttana means emerging from conditioned realities, means standing upwards, upright, having departed from the conditioned realities, because it's getting out of the conditioned as an object. Then the term Vivattana means turning away from something. It means turning away, facing some other direction. Turning away from the conditioned realities. The wisdom which is in the emerging from conditioned realities and turning away from conditioned realities is called Bahidha Vuttana Vivattane Pañña. And that both wisdom is the Gotrabhū. Gotrabhū is the wisdom which overcomes the Putujjana clan or the lineage and produces the Arya clan or makes someone a noble being. So that's the wisdom. It's a very interesting one. So I conclude the lecture. Hopefully next week most probably would be the last week for this semester, and hopefully we'll be doing the Magga Chitta, Magga Ñāna in detail. Okay. So Buddha Sasanang Chirantittatu, Buddha Sasanang Chirantittatu, Buddha Sasanang Chirantittatu, Sadhu Sadhu Sadhu.